describe how you create a learning environment for pro players.
Yes. So yeah, good question. Put me on the spot. I like it. So the thing with like pros, what I've understood, especially in larger groups, and I'll start with that, then I'll work my way down. Is
Sure.
one of the biggest things I've learned with pros is they want to compete. Like there always has to be some sort of like competitive element, and that doesn't have to be mean you're going to be beating the crap out of each other, but like keep score for your games or have them like if you're doing a flow drill, which I really don't do, like hey, let's keep track of how many goals you're going to be scoring, or you know, another thing, and it's kind of with the mites too, and this is the difficult part because I've had when I first started coaching, I had some awful pro practices, and I could feel it. The players could feel it. It was just awful, and so
What was awful?
the and this is where after I came from Daryl and like that whole my whole mindset was technical skills. Like we're gonna work on weight shifting, catching pucks and crossover. We're gonna do all those technical skills. But the problem with when you do that type of training, it's very hard to do that when you have 8 or more players. You end up getting a lot of players
Sure.
standing still, and
Yeah.
pro players do not want to stand still. Like they're out here, like they could be doing a million other things.
Is that a rule of thumb for like every practice? Like who wants like nobody signed up for hockey because they wanted to stand
Right. Lines are
still and be static.
I
Yeah.
hate lines. Hate
Yeah.
lines. Like, and I understand you sometimes you have to do it, but like the line should be 2 or 3 people and not 6, 7, 8 people. Like so and I always was like, all right, I'm gonna build and build and build and we're gonna go from A to B to C to D. And it's like they can already do all this stuff. Like, and they don't need to, it doesn't have to be a perfectly technical skill before we move on. And so the problem was like all I wanted to do was skills, and the players were like this is not fun. I'm not enjoying this. Like I don't want to come back to you. And so
Yeah.
like I really had to. I called, and talking about having mentors and coaches. Like I called several coaches, and I'm like, what the heck do I do? Like I'm getting feedback from the players. They're literally telling me like, hey, can we do something different? Like, oh, and that's the worst feeling as a coach when they're
For
like, hey,
sure.
I don't want to do this anymore. And especially my first, luckily it's different now, but my first ever pro player among with some of his friends was Auston Matthews. So like I'm thinking
Heard
I'm
of
like,
them.
yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking I'm the best skills coach in the world. I'm 25. I got Auston Matthews plus all these other pro guys, and I'm like, they don't want to be here. Like this sucks. And because I knew I wanted to keep going down this coaching path, like I said, I called multiple different coaches, and I'm just like, what do I do here? Like I can't, I don't know what I'm doing. It's whatever I'm doing right now is not working. Give me some feedback. And so it very much became like they want to compete, they want to have fun, they want to be moving quickly. And so once I understood that, like there just needs to be pace.
Because what were you doing that created an environment where they were standing still? Like what kind of drills would you be
So
doing?
it was be like, okay, we're going to stand at this dot. You're going to swing really low, and you're going to get a cross ice pass, and we're going to try to catch inside of a crossover, and then you're going to go down
Yeah.
and shoot. Okay, then the next guy's going to go, and then the next, and you're going to do that
Got
four
it.
times in a row, and like so it'd be that type of stuff
And
where it's
10
like,
minutes later, every guy's
right,
touched the puck four
right,
times.
and
Yeah.
so the thing with pros, and this is why it's like it makes you a better coach, but you cannot stay with something for more than 4 or 5 minutes. So there'd be a couple times I'd come to a skate and I'd have 15 drills lined up. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be unreal. This is going to take the whole hour. And I'm done with it in like 15, 20 minutes. And in my mind, I'm like panicking. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do for the next 40 minutes? I've got
Yeah.
8 professional players out here.
Yeah.
And like, so that's where like it made me a better coach, no question. So I fully recommend any young coach go to a practice and have no plan. Like, obviously if your life depends on it, like
I'm
prepare.
getting anxiety as you say that.
Yes, I know it's very anxiety inducing, but it forces you to develop the ability to think quickly on your feet. Because, and I know there's some coaches, and this is like, I read a lot about John Wooden when I was younger, and like he detailed his practices to the minute. We're going to do this for 8 minutes, this for 8 minutes, and there's a benefit of doing that for a team practice. But if I want to teach people a new skill, you can't place a time limit on that. So it's more like, all right, I've got this general framework. Now where do I need to move to next, keeping in mind where I maybe want to get to in the future to like help build that skill. So I don't do, unless I'm playing games, like I don't time anything out anymore. It's more of like, okay, they've done this 2 or 3 times. Now they're ready for more. And where can I move it? Where can I add? Where can I change? And so going into practices with no plan, and I purposely did it occasionally, which made me have awful practices, no question. I probably would look back and be like, what the heck was I thinking? But I just had a sense, from reading other coaches and other people, it's like, go into something with no plan and see if you can figure it out. And like you said, it is, especially, I mean, it's difficult, no question, if you have 25 mites out there. I'm not like, that takes a certain level, like you have to get to a certain level to be able to organize 25 mites, because mites and pros are completely different. Like you can tell a pro, hey, go stand over there and work on that. You tell that to 8 mites, it's chaos. And I get that. I get that.
If you are involved with the Minor Hockey Association that hosts tournaments or multiple tournaments, or you're a coach who operates spring tournaments, or any organization that puts on events, then you're going to thank me for introducing you to Event Connect. Event Connect makes managing and growing your sports events simple and efficient. It literally covers every aspect of the event management, from scheduling, linking out of town teams or visitors with hotel bookings, to capturing registration fees and collecting additional revenue, all on one platform. Best of all, it's free. Event Connect receives a small fee through its payment processor, but there is no upfront investment. I got introduced to Event Connect because several of our league and association partners began using them and raved about the time it saved, how user friendly it was, and the additional revenue they were able to generate. In fact, the feedback was so positive, we began using Event Connect to host TCS Live, our annual coaching conference at the University of Michigan. It was a great decision. I know firsthand how stressful it can be to run tournaments and events, and can't imagine going through that process again without Event Connect. If you want to simplify the process of organizing your tournament or event and tap into new revenue, then go to eventconnectsports.com to book a demo today. Don't go through the painful process of trying to run your next tournament without Event Connect. Go to eventconnectsports.com and get started now.